Um, the Rujuta Diwekar ji, and I'm so honored to be sitting here, sharing the stage with her. And this is a fan moment, so I think I'm going to be spellbound for a while. But anyways, I'm going to start with a shloka, which is very relevant to Rujuta ji's revolutionary work on wellness and her visionary ideas to keep us all healthy, fit, and comfortable within ourselves. So I'm going to start with a small little shloka. I'm sure most of you would be knowing it. We will start with that so that we'll invoke the goddess of food, Mata Annapurneshwari, yes. Before that, a small invocatory shloka. Yeah? Let's start. Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhiksham Dehi Kripavalambanakari Mata Annapurneshwari Te Namo Namaha. Yes, we'll start. I would like to do my little fan moment thing. We totally love you. Welcome you to Mysore. Welcome you to welcome to this beautiful city. And we've been waiting. And it's great that Mysuru Literature Festival has organized this beautiful, and Shubha felicitating for initiating this beautiful festival also. Thank you very much for all the members of the Mysuru Literature Festival for inviting this visionary wellness guru. So, welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a real pleasure and honor for me to be in Mysuru. I'm a fan of Mysuru Park, and now also the fan of everyone around, of your enthusiasm, of the way you all dress up, sit so upright, because I go to many festivals and find people sitting like this, but not here in the Garden City, everyone sits upright. So it's a real pleasure and honor for me to be here, and huge thanks to Shubha for actually having me here. And I have one request: you have to drop the G and call me Rujuta.
G, no? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, I've been watching your videos.
Nice.
Yeah, like everybody, I guess.
Yes.
And then, of course, most of your books are there in my library.
Thank you.
And also the books which is featured in this festival, Indian Superfoods and the 12 Weeks Fitness Project. Brilliant books. Everybody should have it by their side table, because it's such a guide, such a simple, and I love the humor in it, and I just love the little recipes which are very therapeutic in the Indian Superfoods. It is so beautiful, and it's a great book to be having, and just referring to it for therapy. It's really, really wonderful.
Thank you.
I would like to address a few questions from this book.
Sure.
So I will start off with the first one.
Yes.
I have made notes because otherwise I would go on praising you.
Thank you.
So your book on Indian foods. To those who haven't yet read this wonderful book, how would you explain what superfoods are and why do you call them superfoods?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say for all those who haven't read it and still came here, thank you very much. For all those who read it and still come here, thank you very much. Because it's like, बार वही बताती है, कुछ नया बताओ. You know, but the whole thing is that when it comes to food, the good old stuff is the stuff that really works. You know, I think as women we discover this very often. A lot of times, you know, according to me, amongst the most strained and complicated relationships of life is the one that a mother shares with her daughter, or the daughter shares with her mother. But over a period of time, you actually begin to understand the whole beauty and the warmth, and you know, you begin to realize the whole potential of that relationship, and so much of that relationship is around food, warmth, and nurture. So Indian superfoods is really about foods which nurture us and which help us grow and evolve, and really watch us leave the nest and are actually happy about it. And you know, we know, and Indian superfoods are also the foods which sit very quietly in our kitchen till we go around the world and explore the goji berries and the avocado toast and the kiwi green juices and stuff. And Indian superfoods will sit back and they know that she's going to come back for rasam rice, thar idli, khichdi, you know. So I think that's what Indian superfoods is all about. I also called it superfoods because, you know, right now I was just listening into the earlier session and I realized that people are not just highly into, you know, reading, you know, books and literary and stuff like that, but are also extremely you know, intelligent even with the questions that I heard, and are also very vocal about what they feel. And Indian superfoods is also a little bit like that. I think superfoods are foods that you can use in a ritual, like, you know, like rice, for example. You know, you can't get married without having raw rice. You have to throw it on people. And after you're dead also you're offered rice. So, you know, rice is basically a food. Superfoods are foods that become a part of rituals. Superfoods are foods that become part of therapeutic meals, you know, that when you are feeling low and dull or you're having a bad stomach, rice can pick you up.
Absolutely.
You know, and it can set your stomach all right. Even if you're constipated or whether you have diarrhea, you can still have rice.
Yes.
And it is also a form, these are also foods which are used in art. So whether it is rangoli or whether it is the mango leaves which become patterns on our saris and stuff like that. So superfoods are foods जो आप खा सकते हैं, जिनके साथ आप गा सकते हैं और जिनके साथ आप मर भी सकते हैं. You know, so that's what superfoods are all about.
Yeah, so you were just saying that you have read the book and still you've come here, and how many times, you know, that the reminders which you give us about take pride in your tradition is brilliant. It is something which we want to keep getting reminded, because we sometimes tend to go away from culture and stuff.
Well, I really think that as long as we have South India, we will not go away from culture. And we have Yamini people like you who bring Bharatanatyam to the fore. And you know, I think everyone should learn to do the Aramandi.
Absolutely, yes.
Life का problem उधर ही खत्म. You know, so yeah. So, our culture, I think we don't need reminders of our culture because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in the way we exchange gifts with each other. It's in the way we share food with each other. We just had Ashadhi Ekadashi, or we just had Eid. You know, it's in the way we come together. It's basically like love. It's everywhere, which is why you don't see it. Which is why you need 14th February to celebrate it. You know.
Yeah.
But you need 14th February only if you are immature about it. But otherwise, I think culture is something which is there all around. You don't need any reminders. But I think people like me, because we talk about it in maybe English or on social media, or because I also have clients from Bollywood, so maybe that's why it gets more attention. But I'm surely not, the person bringing culture to anyone at all. I know that it
It's just a
exists,
reminder.
which is why people like me can even have a career. Otherwise I don't think that one could have said, okay, dal chawal khao, idli dosa khao, rasam khao, and you can still be thin. I don't think it would have worked if we were not deeply rooted in our
So true.
culture.
So true.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So my next question comes from your 12-week fitness project. I'm sure everybody will be very interested in that. Okay. Let me start with this. All of us resolve at the beginning of the year that we are going to lose weight and we are going to live a better life and we are going to, we're going to discipline ourselves. And then 2 weeks maximum, because I run a shala, so I know that first 2 weeks
Every day.
Yes, and then after that it slowly starts. Just what happens, because nothing drastic happens actually when you look at it, but what happens within?
I think what happens within is that we are not looking at it sustainably. We are looking at it like the way we look at it when we are going to date maybe a bad boy. 2 weeks ke baad mein you realize it's not working out for you. So it's good if you dump the bad boy at the right time. What the weight loss industry has done is that the weight loss industry has built this narrative that if we are out of shape, then there is something wrong with us, that there is something then wrong with our willpower, our approach, and it's our inability to stick it out with the diet or workout that they are giving us. But what the weight loss industry does, and essentially to monetize us, is that it doesn't look at us as people at all. As people, we have real life problems and real life issues. We have real husbands, real children, real bosses, real homes, real everything. And we need a diet and a workout plan that helps us feel that we are celebrating ourselves versus really punishing ourselves. It has to be something that we can do for the rest of our lives. It isn't about something that whips us in good shape in the next 2 months or 3 months. It's not about looking very good for your cousin's wedding. कोई नहीं देख रहे तुमको, cousin को भी कोई नहीं देख रहे. One of my friends, she's a hairdresser. She said that basically no one looks at anyone at the wedding. Everyone just looks at themselves and keeps thinking how bad they're looking. So the whole point here is that if you are starting with good intentions year after year, but if you're unable to stick it out beyond 2 or 3 weeks, the problem lies in what you're doing, in the approach that you are taking. So only eat foods which have a name in your local language. Only eat foods which you can cook in your own home, and only follow programs which teach you to sit down and chew your food slowly and eat with all your senses, and not be on social media, WhatsApp and iPad while eating. Look at exercise as something that you can do for half an hour or 1 hour every day or every other day, without needing to wake up at some crazy hour or travel a long distance. Basically make life easy for yourself, because life has many challenges, and the whole point of staying in good shape is to overcome those challenges without getting bitter and resentful, while still staying kind and warm to yourself and to everyone else around. So the problem lies with the diet, and the problem doesn't lie with the people on those diet. Everyone wants to be healthy. Everyone will stick it out with a diet and a workout program if it fits into their life, so it is really about creating programs that work for real people. If something is working only on willpower, then it is not worth doing.
Yeah, that's so practical and true. Thank you so much. So again, back to superfoods. This is about the kids. Kids are going through a lot of stress these days, and their activities are becoming more and more indoors, and also screen bound. And also, the market is full of junk food. So, what would your suggestions be to the parents how can they ensure that the kids are not kind of getting the best nutritious food?
I think first thing as parents, what we have to do is we have to stop chewing our children's brains and lead more by example. Instead of saying things to them, if we live our life a certain way, that helps. But I think when it comes to everyone's health, especially children, what we also need are proper government regulations. You cannot allow for junk food to get marketed like the way it is getting marketed. There has to be regulation on junk food. You cannot have competitions where you say that if you collect 10 wrappers of this chocolate, you may win. You may win a trip to Paris or any of those things. So you need to have regulation on marketing of junk food. Many countries across the globe are doing that. India needs to do that too, because we are having children who are getting much fatter than what they should be for their age, and are having many diseases which are preventable simply because junk food is so easily accessible. And we should also tax junk food so that it becomes more expensive than 5 rupees or 10 rupees or 15 rupees packets, and we must force junk food companies to pick up their own garbage. Why should our municipality go around cleaning up everyone's garbage? It's fine for us to have that personal responsibility and put it in the dustbin, but we should get our junk food companies to recycle the plastic that they create to sell us or to bring us this junk food. I think that needs to happen at the policy level. At a personal level, this is something that I feel that I think the younger generation is today is having it much rougher than let's say what my generation had it as a teenager. There is a lot more pressure to look a certain way. Social media is really destroying lives in more than one ways. It's like people can make any kind of a comment on you, and any which ways, all young kids, especially young girls, they're so insecure about the way they look, and now social media has just amplified that insecurity, and people click 1,000 selfies and they still don't like the selfie that they have actually clicked, and you keep looking for filters for your skin to look like one tone, for your eyes to pop out, for your lips to look like they're pouting all the time, and you don't even look like that in real life. So I feel that in real life you look great, because as human beings, the great thing about being a human is that we all look unlike each other. And another great thing is that we all look different every 5 years. If we are looking the exact same, we are probably machines and AI is interacting with us. And so it's great that children, I think children need to regulate their social media use. At least that is what I do. I keep it down to like half an hour, and this is when I post every single day. And then I don't even read what people are saying, So because otherwise it will occupy you all the time. So my rules for young kids is that if you're going to post a selfie, post the first one that you clicked. You look just as good or just as bad even in the 1,000th one. The second one is to not use the gadget when you're going to bed. So at least 1 hour before you go to bed, keep the gadget away. And the third one is that when you're eating, there should be no gadget. I think at least that's a rule that all of us need to follow as a family. You can't be saying that, listen, I don't get any time, so main ab bhi karne wali, but you are still a student, so you keep this whole thing away. And we must get our time out in the sun. I think offline classes need to be back, and we need to have gardens and grounds for our kids to go out and play and get dirty.
That's so true. Okay, so again, from your 12-week fitness project, as an individual who's looking to lead a healthy life right now, your inspirational, revolutionary comments on it. You need. Okay. So, as an individual who's looking to lead a healthy life, life free of disease and discomfort, what do you think they should do right away? Tomorrow.
I think no, from now. If
From
you want
now,
to
yes.
live like a nice disease-free life, you constantly need to be at it. I think for Indians it should be very easy to stay fit and to choose, how to stay fit. The first thing that you must do if you're looking to lead a healthy and fit life is not stand on the weighing scale. Because now there is also like evidence. I think that just looking at how much you weigh or just looking at your BMI is not an adequate measure to know whether you're healthy, whether you're fit or you're fat. I think as Indians we understand this, it's like because we are so much into arranged marriage. So how during arranged marriage we look at multiple factors. Ladka kidhar kaisa hai, how much salary, which school or college did he go to, how many brothers and sisters does he have, what kind of family. We also collect information from what is the neighbor saying, what is the aunt saying, what is blah blah blah. We collect many data points before we decide whether or not to even meet this boy or meet this girl. Similarly, when it comes to our health or fitness, we need to collect many data points. We cannot decide what we are going to subject ourselves to in terms of exercise or food based on just how much we weigh. We should also be looking at what stage of life we are at. We should also be looking at what is our waist measurement, what is our hip measurement, how light do we feel on our feet, how well do we sleep in the night, how regular are our periods, how easily are we complying to our exercise program. Are we looking forward to exercise, or are we saying it one more time that I have just donated to the gym or donated to this yoga class or whatever else that it is. So we have to look at many factors. We also have to look at how's our skin looking, our hair looking, what are our moods like. Are we generally getting more tolerant towards people's stupidity around us? Because if we are, then I think what we are doing is fine. And we can't just be on this bandwagon of kuch bhi karke mere ko 5 kilo lose karne ka hai, because then we lose our sanity and self-esteem and gain 15 kilos in the bargain. So we need to take a graded approach. We must collect at least 5 data points on our own health, and if whatever intervention that we are using in terms of diet and exercise is only getting us to lose weight, but is but it's ruining our sleep, our energy levels, our exercise performance, our periods, our hair, our moods, then we must get off it, because life is more than just one data point. When people die, people rarely talk about, she was 55 kilos all her life. No one talks about us like that. Everyone talks about how we made them feel, what they remember about us, whether we stood by them in their rough times. And that's the stuff that really matters. How thin we were while we held our friend's hand in her time of crisis doesn't matter. That we were there is all that matters.
So beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, another very worrying, you mentioned this is all from your books, okay. Anyway, so we see many misinformed people making these unhealthy choices to lose weight without thinking on the long-term repercussions. Please elaborate on the dangers of quick weight loss and crash diets and those.
I think one of the biggest dangers of just quickly losing weight is about how the body begins to respond to this quick weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
So what the body does when it loses weight very quickly is that, when you decide from today I'm going off carbs, or from today I'm going off ghee, or from today I'm going off sugar, or from today I will whatever else, eat only one meal a day or anything like that. When you lose weight quickly, your body begins to make metabolic adaptations in favor of weight gain. And the metabolic adaptations stay even after you have gained all the weight that you had initially lost. Which is why a lot of people will notice this. My clients tell me that when I was 20, I just cut out rice and I dropped 5 kilos. Then at 25, when I had to lose weight again, for whatever reason, first of all, you should never need to lose weight over and over again. Once you drop it off slowly, it should stay off. So the sustainable way to lose weight is about 5 to 10% of body weight per year. So if you start at 100 kilos in July 23, then in July 24, you should be somewhere between 90 to 95 kilos. July 2024. If you get on 24th July as a 95 or a 94 kilo person and it is still 2023, I said that right? Then you're going to regain and you're going to be 115 kilos by August 2023, And then people often tell me that first I gave up rice and it worked like a miracle. Then I gave up rice and chapati, then I lost weight. Then I had to give up rice and chapati and banana and mango, then I lost weight. Now I have given up everything, I'm still not losing. Yesterday I just stood in my balcony or thoda hawa aaya, so I have gained weight again. So the whole thing is that our body makes this metabolic adaptations in favor of weight gain. So you should never make your body feel punished for getting out of shape. देखो body है, पतला हो रहा है, मोटा हो रहा है, मतलब अभी तक जिंदा है. So the whole thing is that you bring about small changes. You change the default. If the default for the last 30 years has been that you're slowly gaining weight, then at least for the next 3 years work at slowly losing it. Don't be in a mad rush of knocking it off. 3 weeks ये time तो मैंने decide किया. अरे बहुत देखा है ऐसा. You gain it in the next 3 days. So don't do that. Don't punish your body. Your body is the victim here. Your body is not victimizing you. So don't victimize it further with your weight loss goals. बाकी कोई भी गोल रखो लाइफ में, वेट लॉस का गोल मत रखो. वजन अपने आप उतरता रहता है if you are eating correctly, exercising, sleeping on time. The thing is that it is so commonsensical to lead a healthy life that it becomes a hard sell. And sometimes we have to realize that in our life, if something else was a priority, cracking an exam, getting well at this job, shifting homes, raising children, then there has been natural neglect towards the body. Now you need to nurture it back in shape in a kind manner. It's like since you teach Bharatanatyam, no one does Arangetram on day 1, right? I mean, it takes at least 7 years. So it takes time to 6, 7 years, right? So it takes 10 years, okay, there you go. So it takes time to be capable of standing on stage and performing something in a way where you are also enjoying it and the audience is also not getting bored to death. So it's the same thing with weight loss. Do it in a slow, steady manner. People who are invested in you are never going to ask you how much you weigh. And they make assessment of your health based on how you look, how happy you are, how well you are eating. One of the biggest ways of expressing love is khana or khilana. So we should not trade that for weight loss, because we cannot find enough love in a bouquet of roses, no matter how much florists try and sell that to us. This whole khana, khilana, sharing food, keeping an extra, let's say, Mysuru Pak for someone who really loves that Mysuru Pak. All of that is what love and real life is all about. And all that you should care about is that while you're alive, you should be able to carry your weight on your own 2 feet. Once you're dead, irrespective of the religion or whatever that you belong to, there will be 4 people who will carry you to aaram se jiyo.
This is what you were talking about. Just a question popped out, and actually, when we call fat and we call a person as fat, but if the person is healthy, what is the worry about? So should they worry about anything? What is it's just a small.
Just yesterday I started working with a 55-year-old man. He's Delhi-based. He's 125 kilos. So if the minute you say 125 kilos, you feel like this person is like really fat and stuff. But when we start working with people, we also put them through what we call as a fitness assessment. So we check for their strength, their flexibility, their stamina, their hip to waist ratio and stuff. And he did very well on all of his fitness assessments. And I said to him कि आपको क्यों weight lose करना है? आपकी सेहत काफी अच्छी है because his HbA1c is good, his TSH levels are good, everything is in a good place. He said, actually one of his friends is the president of a very big hospital in Delhi, and that doctor also told him कि तू क्यों weight loss कर रहा है? तू अच्छा चलता फिरता आदमी है. I was like, okay, this is great. People who are invested in you will care much more about your mobility, your agility, your energy levels than really you being, somehow really low on the weight. We have, the recent AMA guidelines also talk about how people of different genders and ethnicities and ages will have weight which is different, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they are unhealthy. So BMI or body weight is no longer taken as the only criteria for labeling people as fat or fit or healthy or unhealthy, even according to the most current guidelines. So we should all surely come to terms with the ever-evolving guidelines and know that we need to look at many parameters of our health and not just one data point. The reason why we like to weigh ourselves is because weighing scales are cheap. They give us results instantaneously, and you don't need to. They're non-invasive. You don't need to prick any part of the body. You just stand and you get the weighing scale. And what I've also seen is that the richer people get, the more number of weighing scales they begin to own, and then they also, I think, get a little angry with themselves because they weigh themselves on 3-4 weighing scales and they only go by the weighing scale on which they are the highest. So I really like to say this to everyone. See, you don't like the body weight that you are at, then you should consider going to the moon. वजन कम हो जाएगा, ऐसा ही अपने आप फ्री में, go to the swimming pool, वजन कम हो जाता है. The whole point is that you should feel light on your feet. How much you weigh doesn't matter. I've been working for the last 20 years. I don't own a weighing scale. We've never weighed any client of mine. If you ask me how much my weight is, I don't know. But the next time I go to a railway station, if I have 1 or 2 rupee coins, I will stand and I will check my weight. But they removed, I think, those machines from the
We don't have
station.
that
You
anymore.
don't have that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming to my last question.
Yes.
So in your 12 weeks fitness project, you mentioned that household chores or the work you do for, just like that, it doesn't count as exercise. What do you exactly mean by that, if we can
See, exercise has 4 components, strength, stamina, stability, and stretching or mobility. When you exercise, all these 4 S's should get activated or stimulated. Only then does it qualify as exercise. But now that we are getting extremely sedentary, I picked up my own cup of coffee becomes a form of exercise for us. It shouldn't be. It is while you're alive, you should aspire to do all your work by yourself. A lot of our grandparents have left behind the legacy of maybe, people tell me about my grandmother washed her sari till the last day of her life, or till the second last day of her life. My grandfather went and got vegetables even on the last day of his life. You have to choose to stay mobile and active. We are living in a world where we almost have to make a decision that we will do at least bare minimum basic work for ourselves and not have other people do it for us, even if we are wealthy or even if we are men. If we are men, our mother or our wife or someone else. Yeah. So, when the UN talks goals, they also talk, they obviously were the first two goals are about no one in the world going hungry and no one in the world having poverty, because those are really the two main problems that we face, that we are little 2-3 kilos extra or fitting in M versus S is not a problem at all. If you are no longer fitting in S, wear M, no problem, and give S to someone who's currently S, doesn't matter. And don't be one of those type of people who are like, when Facebook throws memories saying, oh God, why was I having a problem in 2020? I was quite thin only. So now remember that in 2023, even right now you're fine, but you should discover that today and not in 2027, because जवानी क्या है ना, एक बार जाती है तो वापस नहीं आती है. So which is why you need to recognize it while you are in the moment. But UN talks about gender equality, and a lot of times after getting married, women gain weight not because they're happy, but because they are in an environment where they no longer have the bandwidth to do anything for themselves, whether it is exercise or whether it is eating correctly. Of course, it's changing, and it's changing quite a bit and at a fast pace. It's a welcome change. So we need to, I say this to all young girls when I go to college and all of that, that when you're looking to date, if you're going to date a boy, don't even date a boy who doesn't know how to make dal chawal. Shadi to dur ka baat hai, dating ka bare minimum thing should be that dal chawal लगाने को आना चाहिए, बनाने को आना चाहिए, घर पर दही कैसा बनता है मालूम होना चाहिए, that you need to have a boy who knows that, okay, घर पे दही बनता है, कैसा बनता है, winter में कितना time बाहर रखने का, summer में कितना, because finally if you want to, if you plan to marry and you want to live with a person like this, you need them to have like this basic information. Otherwise you're constantly just trying to keep your temper down, and then that is too much of a hassle. And then if you're a woman, people are wondering, PMS? Menopause? No, none of them, So, yeah. So the whole point is that we need people, as women step out and, we begin to do things for ourselves, we need our kitchens to become gender neutral. We come from a heritage where our grandfathers could cook at least one or two things without instructions from grandmother. Now we are married to men or raising sons who don't even know chammach kidhar hai. Agar dal chawal bataya, if you tell them for khichdi or for pongal it is this much rice and this much moong dal, they don't know what is where. So you can't. That becomes rough, and we belong to a heritage where people could cook at least one meal all by themselves, where they could prep, cook and clean up after without needing to disturb anyone in the household. We should have that life back. Why not? As women, we should have the ambition that our home life will be fulfilling and enabling for our family.
That's why she's a visionary and a revolutionary.
I'm not. I'm saying we've had all of these things. We have lost out on this. We should recreate it.
That's so true. Thank you so much. I think we are open for questions now. Yeah? Okay.
I have one question. It's partly a question, partly an observation. I've come from a mixed marriage, so I've had as much aloo ka paratha and as much varan bhat.
How much meat, how much aloo, how much ajwain, how long on a tawa. So you should bindas eat,
Why are most of the doctors saying that? That's what I want.
That you should ask them.
The fact that you should not have a goal for weight loss, you should not have, any such.
Then why a 12-week program?
A 12-week program doesn't say that at the end of it you're going to lose this much weight. The 12-week program is an effort-oriented program that you pick up one habit every single week. You work at integrating that into your life. The second week, you keep up with the first habit and continue learning a second habit. By the time you're in your 12th week, you have 12 new habits or interventions which are good for your health. Over a period of time, as a byproduct, you knock off weight and you knock off inches. And like I said, that, the sustainable rate is 5 to 10% per year. If you build healthy habits, you automatically meet that criteria. You don't have to deprive yourself or punish yourself or whip yourself in shape. That's a bad attitude. Like I said, our body is already the victim of our negligence. Now you can't punish it back in shape. You have to nurture it back in shape.
But it's actually a 12-week fitness project. So it needn't have to be weight loss as such, no? So it's just.
Yeah, I think there's a question there. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a regular gym goer and I want to build muscle. But, so for that, my trainer says I need to reduce my calories but increase my protein. And here's where I run into the problem because protein powder is very expensive, but my calories increase when I try getting protein through food. So how would you suggest that?
The latest American guidelines are about people eating according to their personal preferences, cultural traditions, and within their budgetary constraints. Okay, so anything that wants you to get out of your budgetary constraints is not something which is going to bring you health. Also, choosing what will come on your plate or get removed from your plate based on nutrients, case mein carb hai kya, protein hai kya, fat hai kya, is like deciding who you will talk to and work with based on ye kala hai kya, gora hai kya, ladki hai kya, ladka hai kya, umar kya hai. So just like the way we are against ageism, casteism, classism, racism, sexism, similarly we should also be against nutritionism. Food is not about protein, carbohydrate and fat. Food is about love, nurture, sharing, and staying in good shape. And we must enjoy the whole potential of of what food has to offer. And a good fitness professional, a good health professional, should be aware of the fact that you only do what is called as FBDG, which is like when you are giving out guidelines, you give out guidelines which are food-based dietary guidelines. So you have to take the name of the food. You cannot take the name of the nutrient. कि प्रोटीन खाओ और कार्बोहाइड्रेट निकालो और कैलोरी कम करो, मतलब और confusion. There is already so much confusion in life. So advice from a professional should bring clarity, not confusion. Confused तो हम लोग free में बैठे ही हैं. So why have like stuff which adds to more confusion in our life? If it's not adding to clarity, let go of the advice.
Yes, good evening. I just have a quick question for you. There are lots of things which keep talking about the keto diet and intermittent fasting and blah blah blah. So what is your take on that? And additional question to that is, what is your belief in terms of these Fitbits and the health bands, and are they really helpful or not really helpful, or do they really create more problems?
I think anything which is going to like measure, it's like you ask people how well they slept. Earlier people would tell you how well they slept. Now they're like, wait, watch batayega. So I think only silly people use smart gadgets. It's like too much of a statement to make it like, smart people know how much you don't have to count how many steps you walk. Scientifically, there is nothing to say also that 10,000 steps will actually make you fitter. But staying more active, being on your feet, all of that makes you fitter than just lounging around on your couch all the time. I know some people who are like, "Beta remote pakadana." That's not also their remote. But they're wearing a smart watch. So no, all these gadgets and stuff, they don't work. But people wear them because people now want to measure everything, But you don't need to measure every single thing, that's one. And what do I think about keto diet or fasting diet or anything else? I think that any diet that has a name is bound to fail. Diets, it's like, So it has to be about a shifting of your default. You eat stuff which has a local name, and I think every time you get onto a diet or an exercise program, always think about your grandmother or your grandfather or your grandfather, and think about when your grandmother's watching down, what is she going to think? Kya kha rahi hai bichari? Yeah, acha, very good, she's on track. If what you're eating is going to hurt that poor woman's heart, then don't do it. Don't do that quinoa. Don't do anything which she can't pronounce. It has to be stuff where she feels that yes, that's my granddaughter or grandson, mere nakshe kadam pe chal rahi hai. So that's the confidence that she should have when she's watching over you. And when you are on an extreme diet, people who are invested in your health are actually unhappy with what you're doing. They're all like, why are you doing this? Why are you subjecting yourself to something like this? So yeah, if it has a name, it's bound to fail. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yes. Although a lot of the things a lot of these things you have already put on your Instagram page. One thing that really caught my attention in today's session, as well as one of your Instagram videos, is about sustainable consumption. Like how you said, junk food.
Yeah.
Ask them to pick the plastic bag. Actually, there is a law. It's just that we are not.
Nice.
There's something called as an extended producer responsibility, where the company is supposed to take back the plastic.
Oh, nice. I wasn't aware of that.
Yes. So, I wanted to understand how we can make our consumption in general a little bit more sustainable for the environment as well.
I think making our consumption sustainable for the environment would mean picking up more of the local produce from smaller cooperatives or women-run organizations, and then eating it only while things are in season, taking it home and making it. I think sustainability is something which has been in the Indian DNA. We are the people who have turned our saris into cushion covers and even into bags, after they lost all their shine and stuff. So we just need to go back to our the ways in which we lived without really constantly just adding everything to cart every time we are online. I think that's the way to lead a more sustainable life.
Sorry, can I ask? Thank you, madam. Thank you for a lovely talk. I just wanted to comment that most people don't know that Western dietary science started with malnutrition. Marasmus, kwashiorkor, their whole science was aimed at gaining weight and gaining nutrition. And all that Western science knows is 5 things: protein, carbohydrate, fat, mineral, vitamin. They know nothing else. I mean, your point about aloo paratha is perfectly correct. What happens nowadays is that you go on Twitter, somebody posts a photograph of an aloo paratha, and some diet guy says, oh, this is low in protein. So this misinformation is going on, and that is really bad. Western science does not know how to lose weight. Everybody is getting fat, and we are following that and getting fat. What do you feel about it?
I feel that I think maybe the last one that this lady's been starting. I feel when we are no longer eating like the way we used to. I think in the monsoon, for example, we eat the bereke soup. I think the wild and uncultivated vegetables. We are not eating those. We are not eating the vegetables which are like more local. We are not eating the fruits which are more local. So our eating patterns have changed. B, while Mysuru is very, very good, in a lot of the other cities, it's very difficult, I think, to walk or to cycle as a default. Like when I was in school, everyone walked to school. Now it's like everyone is getting dropped to school in a car. So if the default keeps changing, then I think over a period of time we become a obese society. So we also need to be looking at really how we develop our cities, and if our cities are not going to change the default of anyone who earns above 25,000 rupees a month is getting a bike or a rickshaw versus really walking around. If the minute it starts walking becomes the default, I think being active, eating more local food, walking around as a default, and over a period of time all of us should be in good shape. And I think that last question and
Namaskar, madam. We're so glad to have you here. First and foremost, we've been following you all over the books and everything. But one last question I just want to check. We've been eating wheat for this last 40 years, right? Might be my grandparents ate bajra and makai because we are from Rajasthan. But this wheat thing happened just with my mother's thing. And I follow you also. You do not talk so much about wheat. Is it actually the bad thing, or
it is really not? But not eating your bajra and ragi at all, so is the bad thing. So in your winters, eat your bajra roti, eat it with your kher sangri and stuff like that, or haldi ka sabzi, and you're safe. So it's really, now that we have like grown up in one region, living in another region, I think it's really about marrying all the cuisines. We have this advantage of having so many cuisines in one place. We should use that to our advantage.
Namaste, I'm Rohini. This is Rohini, an artist come regular yoga practitioner. Especially वो पूछना नहीं है, सिर्फ कहना है. कोरोना के दौरान जो हर कोई खाने पे, सोने पे या सांस लेने पे तोल के ले रहे थे, तब ऐसा लगने लगा था कि हर कोई कुछ ना कुछ कर रहे हैं, शायद हम गलत हो रहे हैं, we are missing something, हमें भी कुछ तोल के सांस लेना है करके. उस वक्त आपका एक जो इंस्टाग्राम वगैरह को फॉलो करना शुरू किया, ऐसे ही पॉपअप आया. तो जब कोरोना के वक्त पे जो लोगों का वो खालीपन का वो जो इतना वक्त रहता था ना, उसका जो मार्केटिंग करते थे लोग खाने पे, किटो वगैरह वगैरह में, और लोगों को पागल करते थे, उस वक्त आप आए निकल के, जैसे कि लोकल खाना खाओ. इतना रिलीज हो गया हमारा ये टेंशन वगैरह. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you very much.